What made you snap at your mom's landlord? I drove up to visit my mom for Thanksgiving, but my stomach dropped when she opened the door. She was wearing 3 sweaters and her winter coat inside her apartment. Her face had this grayish color, and she kept breaking into this wet, rattling cough. When I hugged her, my arms practically wrapped all the way around her. The bathroom ceiling was covered in black mold, and the smell made me gag. Her inhaler was on every single table. When I asked what was happening, she grabbed my arm with both hands and begged me not to make trouble. She said the landlord would kick her out, and she had nowhere else to go. My mom pulled out this folder bursting with papers. She had every repair request from 6 months, all marked received but never answered. Photos showed the mold getting bigger and darker each week. Doctor's notes about respiratory infections she'd never told me about. The heater had been broken for 3 weeks, and her landlord, Doug, kept saying he'd fix it tomorrow, only he never showed up. She'd been heating water on the stove just to wash her face. I knocked on her neighbor Ruth's door, and this tiny woman opened it just a crack with the chain still on. She whispered that the same thing was happening to her and 2 other elderly tenants. Doug had already pushed out 2 people last year, then renovated their units and tripled the rent. He specifically targeted the elderly because they were less likely to fight back. Then my mom dropped a bomb that made me see red. Her grandmother's ring was missing from her jewelry box. She'd been beating herself up thinking she was getting forgetful, but other things were moved too. Ruth said she'd seen Doug's truck outside during the day when my mom was at her part-time job at the library. This creep had been entering apartments whenever he wanted. His nephew supposedly did maintenance and had keys too. My mom showed me bogus lease violation warnings about excessive noise when she's in bed by 8 p.m. watching Jeopardy. Every maintenance request showed completed in the system, but nothing was fixed. I looked up the property management company online and found absolutely nothing. Doug owned the building through an LLC with 0 oversight. That's when I knew I had to do something drastic. I went straight to Doug's apartment and pounded on his door. He answered in a stained tank top, looking annoyed about missing his football game. When I told him about the black mold and no heat, he rolled his eyes and said, "My mom was a difficult tenant who wouldn't cooperate with maintenance." He claimed the mold was her fault for not using the bathroom fan properly. Then he got this nasty grin and said, "If she keeps harassing me about repairs, she'll be homeless and dealing with legal costs that'll bankrupt her." I just went upstairs and changed my mom's locks that night. I stayed with her through the weekend. 3 days after our confrontation, we heard someone trying to unlock the door. The key kept scraping but wouldn't turn. I yanked the door open, and there was Doug with the key still in his hand, mouth hanging open. "Why are you trying to enter my mother's apartment without notice?" I said loud enough for everyone to hear. Ruth came out, and even though her voice was shaking, seeing Doug caught red-handed gave her courage to speak up. She told everyone she'd seen Doug leaving my mom's place 5 times in the past month. Other neighbors started nodding along. I spent the day hunting down evidence, found my grandmother's ring at the 3rd pawn shop. The receipt showed Doug's nephew sold it, the same kid who had keys for maintenance work. I gathered 5 elderly tenants who finally agreed to sign affidavits after seeing I had proof Doug was stealing. Called a mold inspector who actually stepped back when he saw the bathroom. He said, "I've never seen it this bad in an occupied unit." The legal aid lawyer said this was textbook elder abuse and filed an emergency complaint. The health inspector showed up within a week since elder abuse cases get priority. Doug tried telling him he needed appointments first, but the inspector just held up his badge and said, "Emergency complaints don't need appointments." The inspector found 12 major violations. Doug got hit with a $5,000 fine and had 30 days to fix everything or face condemnation. 2-year probation with random inspections. Mom got her ring back. She and the other tenants got reduced rent. Doug couldn't raise rent for 2 years.